Football fans tonight may be wondering when they tune in for tomorrow's games if they'll be seeing more than touchdowns. For more on this now, we go to former NFL star Ray Lewis, who was a linebacker for the Baltimore Ravens and was on the sidelines for the anthem with his former teammates last week. Ray, thank you very much for talking to us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on.
So I get why everyone is down on one knee. I get that they have First Amendment rights. Everyone at these games has a First Amendment right. I get the controversy. I get that it's not all about the American flag. I get it. I want to ask you how you feel about those who choose to take one knee during the national anthem.
Yeah, I think, everybody has an option. Everybody has their opinion on what they're protesting. And everybody's, I don't think no one has the exact answer on what it is that we're all protesting for. What are the guys dropping on knees for? But I think when you think about a brotherhood, right, when you walk in locker rooms and walk out of locker rooms, you walk in as a brotherhood. You walk out as a brotherhood. So I think that's when you see the kneeling together and the arms hooked. That's all we know as players. And so that's what we've created in that culture in those locker rooms. So when we lock hands, we're saying, listen, if we're all in this together, we're all in this together.
Does it have to be, I guess, during the national anthem? Is there a reason why it has to be done then? Could it be done at any other point before the game?
Yeah, you know what? I truly believe this, and that's a great question. And let me tell you why. Is because one of the reasons, when I was in London, one of the reasons why I have this guy sitting next to me, because it can be different, right? I asked him, this is a 22-year war veteran and a 20-year Baltimore detective. And I asked him, what do we do? How do we change the narrative? Like I got to do something to change the narrative, because right now we have over 260 murders in Baltimore and chaos everywhere. I mean, we just went through just tragedies all over. You're talking about Houston, you're talking about Irma, You're talking about now Puerto Rico. So when you get into all of these things, you got to ask yourself, how do we change the narrative? Like, how can we make this different? So that's why I asked him, I said, how do I not disrespect the flag, but how do I give us a different direction? And you simply said to me was?
Pray.
Just said pray.
Just said pray.
Just said pray. And I said, okay, so look, we got to change the narrative, because we have to, I think it's so confusing now that we have to isolate on one thing. And that is, if the dollar bill says, in God we trust, well then in that moment, I trusted God. And so I think we have to change it now. And we have to, and I'm telling you this, I think we have to do this. You talk about players praying when we're in the locker room. I think now we need to pray. We need to pray before the flag. We need to pray before the anthem. As a country, as a community, that's what we do. Players, we inspire people, right? And if people follow us and we inspire them to want to be us, then let them see us pray. Let them see us come together. Let them see us hold hands and come together. And so we can cut out all of this division. There's so much division. You look in the military right now, what's going on with the racist comments and the racist things that's on the doors. There's so much. So my stance of taking two knees was simply to say, okay, enough is enough.
Let's show the picture.
Let's pray.
All right, let's show the picture of you down on two knees. Your former teammate, as you know, Shannon Sharpe, he criticized you publicly, saying that he was disappointed you taking a knee, when in fact you took not one, you took two. And this photo clearly shows that, you got down to pray on two knees. Now, we know why you chose to do that. The question is, and what many are asking is, by doing so, it could be shown as a disrespect to those who fought for our freedom, for those who stand up for the American flag, for those who believe that the national anthem is a time to put your hand over your heart and stand. And that prayer does have a place, but it has a time and place.
And you know what? You're so correct with that. And that's why I think sometimes, most people judge your action, but nobody ever understands the intent.
The concern that many feel, and I wanted to read you one of many concerns that I've received on Twitter, and you probably get flooded with tweets as well. And this is a question a lot of people have, and maybe you can clear the air. The people in the stands are called customers. They pay to watch a football game, not protesting. Customers are always right. Ask him, why doesn't he protest on his own time? We all have to behave when we are on company time. Your response?
Wow, my response is there's a totally different thing when you talk about protesting or
and
praying.
getting on two knees. I get it. Yep.
And getting on two knees. Yeah, praying is definitely not protesting, right? And so when you ask yourself, when I walked out there to start to pray, right, what the first thing I did was I started praying before the teams actually came out. I was praying to cover the whole situation, right? And the moment I got out there, first and foremost, there is no bad time to pray. If there's a bad time to pray with what we're dealing with in our country, then my goodness. And so to answer your question, I totally get and respect where they're coming from with that question. Mm-hmm. But you got to understand what we're dealing with in the context of what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a right now moment. We're not dealing with, oh, boss said don't do this, boss said do that. Right? So I just want, because you mentioned Shannon Sharpe, right? Yeah. And I just want to make sure I introduce something to you. So Shannon Sharpe saw it one way. Right? And went out and said he couldn't get in touch with me. My phone still works in London, by the way. But he couldn't get in touch with me. I came back Sunday night. But Rick Warren, one of the most greatest authors greatest men I've ever met, he saw the same picture. And this is what his response was. Ray, I love you. And I am proud of you for dropping to both knees and honoring God and praying when you were placed in a no-win situation. Right? That's Rick Warren. Rick Fox then texts me and says, continue leading this country. Our motto is, in God we trust. If there is one thing everyone should be able to agree is in that God should come even first, ahead of the flag, the national anthem. Why shouldn't we be praying? Mm-hmm. When people ask me, why did I pray in that moment? Because that moment, my heart was heavy and watching our country.
Do you plan on attending the Baltimore Ravens game tomorrow, which will be played at home?
No, I won't be home. I won't be home. I have to go see some very sick people that I have to stop by and see before I head back to New York.
Okay. Well, Ray Lewis, we appreciate you coming on and trying to set the record straight. And thank you for coming. Yeah. We'll be right back.
Thank you so much.